Welcome to Mac and Blue, the cutting-edge podcast for the nation's builders, merging the realms of construction with exciting advancements in technology. Join us on a thrilling journey where we delve into the dynamic world of blockchain, AI, the metaverse, virtual and augmented reality, and their transformative impact on the industry. Our engaging discussions span a wide spectrum, covering not only construction, economic development, supply chain, and market segments, but also exploring the vibrant tapestry of diversity within the construction landscape. We shed light on the intersection of local politics and its profound influence on the construction sector, while championing the remarkable contributions of women and minorities in construction. For all things Mac and Blue, head to www.macandblue.com, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky. Now let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mac and Blue. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky, president and co-founder of Blue Wave. I've got a special guest today, Brett Hundley, who's a local. We'll get into all the fun stuff. NFL quarterback, former. He's thinking about coming back out of retirement with all these crazy salaries that are coming out, which we'll dabble at lately. But Brett and I were lucky enough to meet probably about a year and a half ago through a mutual friend. He's also been a guest on Urban's podcast, who was a friend of mine who was a podcasting as well. He now records at the same studio we're at now. So we're one big dysfunctional symbiotic family. So Brett, welcome to Mac and Blue.
Thank you for having me, man. Excited.
All right. Before we get into all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the audience probably already knows you.
Yeah.
But you're a local boy,
I am, man.
Tell everyone kind of your upbringing in Chandler.
Yeah.
You know, how you barely got into UCLA.
Here we go. I'm telling you. Oh, man, some great stories. Man, yeah, it's crazy how it all comes full circle because growing up out here, I would have never in a million years thought to be where I am today. But born and raised out here, went to Chandler High School. For everybody who doesn't know, Go Wolves as well. And played football there, and then I didn't even start until my junior year of my high school career. And then
I digress. One thing.
Yeah.
I've been here 12 years.
Yep.
When you were in high school at Chandler,
yep,
was Chandler and Hamilton the powerhouses they are today?
Yeah. Now
they already
completely different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But back then it still was a huge rivalry.
Hamilton,
and you guys were you guys were one of some of the best programs in the state.
Yeah,
correct?
It was really, because now Arizona football, I haven't even kept up with everything.
Right.
Back then it was Chandler, Hamilton, Chaparral was still really good, but the divisions weren't combined in the playoffs. And I want to, Brophy was still all right, but it was Hamilton and Chandler.
Hey, did you win state while you were there?
No, man.
Sorry.
Oh, gosh.
I had to ask.
I didn't, man.
I didn't mean to kick you in the huevos so early.
You did, man. I know. Yeah, we didn't even beat Hamilton. That's the thing that always kills me, man. We never.
So you made it to the NFL and you couldn't even beat
Hamilton, man. That's the crazy part
about it.
Everyone
gives you shit all day long, right?
Absolutely. At least I see. It's funny. I'd never beat Hamilton playing here, but then when I went to UCLA, I never lost to USC. I'll take the two betterments of the rivals. I'll take.
Eat your heart out.
Yeah. I'll take them, man.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going with the story.
No worries. So I finished playing at Chandler, and then got a full ride to UCLA, and then took off and left Arizona, and didn't think I was coming back, and now I'm here, man.
Yeah. Talk about. Let's just spend a little time on football because we'll get into all your cool stuff that you've done as the more mature adult.
Yeah.
Talk about the college life when you were there.
Yeah.
So we were talking off air. The structure and the paradigm is so different for college athletes now than when you were there.
Yeah.
But let the audience just have some humility into what it was like when you were there.
Yeah. It's always a huge jump, any transition going from high school to college and then college to the league. But for college, when I was there, completely different setting. Now, I mean, I would have probably been a millionaire in college if I would have been playing now.
Right.
And back then, I mean, you just got your scholarship pretty much, and that was all it is. And it was still fine and dandy, but everything was scheduled. All your days were scheduled. There was no breaks, no nothing. We couldn't.
Did you feel like they owned you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was that the biggest negative?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of it too is when you see all your jerseys in the shops and who it's for, they couldn't really put your name on the bag. That's why they stopped NCAA football at first, because they didn't want to pay anybody out. But when you see all this going, and I can't even get some extra money to pay for Panda Express. I didn't come from much of nothing, so the people who came in broke. Even though we get a scholarship, we only get.
But you couldn't work.
Yeah, we couldn't do nothing, and the only work that you could do was like
job study type stuff.
Yeah, just small things. So I would intern every summer for a good friend of mine. But like outside of that, man, like college was different. Now the whole world is open to these college and high school athletes. You can get paid millions of dollars. I mean, some of these cats are not going to the NFL because they're getting paid more, and they know by the time. So it's a completely different game. You're able to get paid. Schools are actually able to tell you that we're going to give you like $1 million if you come here. And actually, random enough, the National College Players Association was started at UCLA.
Really?
Which is where
Did you know the people that started
so
it?
I worked with it. So so I knew all the back end, and I knew this was coming. I just didn't know when the ruling would be said. But I worked on that for 2 years while I was there, my junior and senior year, and or third and fourth year, and then finally it passed. But I didn't get to see no money from it, man. So
two more things. At least for now on the college thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you come back here in the summers, or did you stay in LA most of the time?
No, yeah, I stayed in LA most of the time. Yeah. When I got drafted to Green Bay, first summer, I tried to stay in first winter, I tried to stay in Green Bay. It didn't last that long out there.
No, I meant during UCLA. Like, I was like, because like summer, when your second semester ended, did you come? So you answered the question.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I think everyone would want to know, Brett, while you were a student athlete, what did you focus in while you were at UCLA? What was your degree?
Sociology and minor in business.
Oh, nice.
When I went to UCLA, though, this is I went as a doctor. I was trying to be an anesthesiologist.
No way.
Yeah, and it stemmed from we'll get into it, but the foundation, why my sister has epilepsy. So that was really why I chose UCLA. And then I remember starting my classes, and I remember we took our first test, and there was like half the class crying, turning it in, and leaving, and and they were crying because they knew it's that difficult. Oh, and I was like, let me transfer into something else.
All right, so now let's go to the favorite part of the podcast, Green Bay Packers. Go Pack, go!
Absolutely.
By the way, for the audience, I am an owner, so I can talk shit all I want. Okay?
I love it.
All right, so talk to me about drafting.
Man. Yeah,
is it as high as everyone talks about?
Yeah, yes. The easy way to put it is yes. Like I didn't talk to Green Bay. I didn't talk to them once the whole draft period.
Who did you think you were going to?
I mean, I forgot at the time. I had talked to a multitude of teams because there was so many other teams that needed a quarterback. I mean, Green Bay didn't need a quarterback. I think Aaron Rodgers,
Well, we'll get into that in a second. Keep going.
Yeah, and I still remember I thought I was getting prank called because I was sitting there in my room and everybody's there and I'm getting this. I didn't even know where 920 came from. And so I was sitting there looking, and it was a 920 number, and I was like, man, this looks weird. And, you would think nobody would call you or try to prank call you on those days. But I answered, and then I heard Mike McCarthy's voice, and I was like, well, this ain't no prank call. And then next thing you know, man, I'm getting shipped off to Wisconsin from California, so major difference.
And now look at your cheesehead.
Oh,
never
man.
Go back.
I can't. I still try to get back once a year, man.
Okay, so the dig I always want to know is, does everyone in Green Bay know that Brett Favre is actually the second most popular Brett in Green Bay? Do you have ever heard that one before? So you text Favre and just say, hey, on JJ's podcast, it's been determined that I'm the favorite Brett in Green Bay.
Man, I wish, man. Now, man, I'll tell you, it's funny. In Green Bay, no matter who you are or what you're doing for the team, like, they know you play football.
Yeah.
They know, like, without a doubt. Yeah.
All right, so be humble. Tell everyone, because Green Bay is the smallest
it is.
town.
It's a great town, but yeah.
But, like, I grew up in Wisconsin, so it's easy for me to explain to people.
Yeah.
People don't understand. How does the little town of Green Bay hold an NFL franchise? It's awkward as hell, isn't it?
Yes. I remember when I was flying in the first time, and, like, you see nothing, and then it's just, like, some small houses, then this massive stadium.
Right.
And this is before they built out Titletown, which is now completely built out.
Which is cool. So.
Yeah. I haven't even seen the update on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I want to see it. But when I first got there, I mean, you have that strip right in front of in Lambeau Drive or think like that, or whatever the street is, and it's the big stadium, and then you have some commercial buildings, but that's all of Green Bay right there, and there's not, but then it's crazy because on game days, it's a mosh. I mean, it's so many people that come out the whole day. It's the beautiful. It was honestly one of the coolest things in places to play in. And she said, always will be one of my favorite places I've ever played at.
What's hard to explain to people that have never been to a game experience is, yes, you have hatred between teams.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget when you talk to fans that come in from other cities or representing their fan base, it's hard pressed to have anyone say that wasn't a cool experience where you're tailgating in someone's front yard, literally a block away from the stadium, and you park your car in their front yard, you give them $20, and you're shit faced by the time you get to the game because they've had free beer and brats and everything.
Man, I tell people this all the time. Like, you, even though, just like you said, you have different rivalries. You know, Chicago comes to town, but like everybody's so nice, and like it's one of the. That's why I always say I always go back once a year. I try to, and it's just the people are just so nice, so welcoming in a sense, and like just like you throw in $20, you might take a hot dog on the way out and some beer, and then by the time you walk in the gate, you're drunk.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just one thing I know the audience would love to ask, and you can deny it or say it, but
there comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
he's a figurehead in pro sports. What was it like playing with Aaron?
Yeah. Random. This is probably one of the all-time questions I
was he a narcissist or
no? Aaron. I'll say that Aaron was one of the smartest guys I've ever known.
Really, just cerebral.
Like, I mean,
wicked smart.
Yes, like not even just related to football, but you can tell it adds in there because
he went to Berkeley.
Yeah. I mean, he is like one of the brilliant mind, and just the way he processes, and the way he's able to put things together, and even like when he's doing Jeopardy, how he wanted to be the host of Jeopardy. We used to randomly have these. It's called Sporkle. It's like a Jeopardy type of website, and we used to play it on Fridays. But like Aaron, he would know all this stuff, and I had no idea. It's just random facts.
You guys make fun of him?
Oh man, it's like you couldn't even make fun of it because he's beating you at everything. So
what are you doing, nerd boy?
I never understood it, but he's one of the smartest guys, and one of the, like, when you actually get to know him, and maybe in the media he got a bad rap at first. And he is demanding, rightfully so, as any quarterback in that position should be. But he's a very upfront and again, brilliant guy. But he's to himself unless you actually get connected with him. And then once he opens up, just like all of us. I mean, just a really, really awesome guy, deep down inside, really cares about people, connects with people. Now he's big into the ayahuascas and stuff of the world, but it's again, like, it's sort of expressing like who he is deep in his core. He's a very caring person.
Well, a couple more football things.
Yeah.
Talked again so the audience can have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Brett. What were post Green Bay, your 8-year career, right?
Yep.
What can you get humble about and kind of open up a little bit to your inner workings? What was great about the NFL, and what were the cons? What were the down? There had to have been some evil, down, depressed times in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And what were those?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe start with the bad and go to the good.
Yeah, the easiest one is probably, and this is probably the only time I've been, I would say, depressed in my life.
Yeah.
It was when, and I was playing for Green Bay, random enough. But it was, you work your whole life for these opportunities, and these major, major opportunities. And I played football my whole life and got to the Green Bay Packers. And I knew I wasn't going to play when I got drafted because Aaron's playing. But, I knew the day would come where football, it's 100% guarantee you're going to get injured. So the game where we were playing the Minnesota Vikings, he broke his collarbone.
I remember that.
That was my third year. And I remember going into preseason, after preseason that year, I was like tore up because I still had the urge to play. I still wanted to play. So preseason being done, I was like, damn, I got to sit on the bench for the rest of the year. But he had went down. And then after that, we didn't do the greatest. I think that's the easiest way to put it. I didn't have the performance I necessarily wanted to. But those performances, those moments are what you work your whole life for. So, and to not, in my head, I'm like, look, I'm about to throw 6 touchdowns. I'm about to have a Jordan Love 2023 year, where I'm just going out flying. I prepared for this. I've done it, and it just didn't necessarily come together. And, and
you beat yourself up, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, man. I went through some real dark depression times. And the other thing is Green Bay is a great place, but it's very connected. So, a lot of the times too, and there's fans everywhere, and it's not, I wouldn't even just say just Green Bay, but in those moments, especially as players, when you're not doing the greatest, or you could be better, or you're just losing, you can have a good game, but you lose, and still your error is going to be magnified rather than the success.
The media doesn't help any.
Yeah. And so just from everything, from one, the attention, but two, it's not only myself that, social media, people are commenting, it's, my family, it's everybody else, where, you take it past the lines of just like, this is just a game, and so that really, really hurt, I would say, and took me a lot to get through. But at the same time, I will say I came out a lot better on the opposite side, and it actually helped me separate football from who I am personally, which is even how I got to where I'm at today. I think those moments really set the tone for me actually trying to separate football, because that's where a lot of athletes run into problems. It's the transition out, and I still had years to play after that, but it's separating like your identity from who you are in the football realm.
Well stated.
Yeah.
What was it like? Were you married at the time when you were getting out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. First marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that, but
yeah,
thanks.
So that was actually happening.
At least, well, thanks for your honesty.
Yeah,
okay.
Very open.
So at that time, getting towards the end of your career, I think a lot of people would like to also know, Brett, what was going through your head?
Yeah.
Was it like, did you get out physically, mentally? You obviously were well educated and had a good head, shoulders on your head. You saw the future, but what was that like interpersonally during that? Maybe was it a year or two before you actually got out? Like, were you contemplating it and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember when I didn't get cut until my 5th year in the league. So
who were you with at that time?
I had got cut when I was with Arizona in my 2nd year.
Oh, okay.
But I had got picked back up to be put on practice squad.
Oh.
And then when I officially got cut and didn't make a team was my last year, which was with the Baltimore Ravens. I got released, and then I was home for a couple weeks of the season just watching things play. I went to New Orleans for a cup of tea. They just wanted me to give a good look as Lamar, which is another shitty predicament, but you get paid for it. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then when Lamar went down, they brought me back, and then I was with them for the rest of the year, and that was my final year in the NFL. But yeah, those moments, I would say, when I first got cut, those are the most difficult, because you sort of actually, and I even take that back farther, it was when I first got traded too, after that year in Green Bay, the 3rd year, and then the next year they brought in Deshaun Kaiser, and then they traded me to Seattle. Great opportunity for me, but to me, I'm like, man, you really get connected with the teammates, the people you get drafted with. And that was the first separation where I realized
that could be emotional.
Oh, I was breaking down crying in the shower. There was nobody there. But in my eyes, I'm thinking, and this is how it goes. I wake up, I get ready to go in the facilities just like normal, 5, 6 a.m. I'm driving in, and I get a call from the GM. He says, hey, you've been traded. Please get your stuff from the locker, bring your playbook, and you're on a flight at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Movers come to your house that same day. You're on a flight to Seattle. You have to get your stuff, find a place in that week, and the movers will drop off to the next apartment. It's that fast. There is no
I don't think the audience would know that.
No, I'm telling you,
it's business.
It's straight business. Answer call at 7 a.m. I'm on a flight at 2 p.m. Movers are at my house packing everything. Next week,
Do you have an agent?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Kenny Zuckerman, Priority Sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a healthy relationship?
Yeah. Luckily for me,
I mean, in your case, I'm sure you've heard of nightmare ones from your teammates.
Yeah. Luckily for me, Kenny me and my dad and Kenny had a relationship back in U of A. They both went to U of A.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a family. Yeah. So it wasn't I had a really good relationship. And I always told my agent, because most players want to know what's going on and what teams are calling. I always told my agent, I really don't want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you when I need to be somewhere and a team is like, we're going to sign you, or, this is a contract extension.
Got it.
I don't want to hear all the, hey, this team called, maybe I don't care about all that. Yeah.
Good.
So I didn't talk to him much.
Well, Brett, thanks for being humble about the football thing, because it gives a connection to you, to the audience.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the tough time. NFL's done.
Yeah. Man.
What are you gonna do now as Brett Hundley now? So, share what happens next.
Yeah. This has been an amazing sort of just finding who you are, because football, there's a lot of things that transition in from football, especially being a quarterback, teams, leadership, putting things together. But for me, I had absolutely no idea what I really wanted to get into. I had, when I was first coming out, I randomly got into real estate, and that sort of grew into, owning a management / sort of development company in that space.
Were you doing residential and commercial, or just residential?
No, all residential. Yeah, all residential.
And here in Arizona?
Yep. All in Arizona. And all these opportunities sort of came up just by talking to the right people and being in the right place or asking the right questions too.
Right.
And I got into real estate, and that's sort of what led me down this path. Is Prince Mukamara was my teammate, who's from Arizona, another Chandler product, and he had a random Airbnb in Phoenix, and I was sort of hoarding my money because I didn't know what to do with it, and I knew that my time in transition, that was when I first got cut with Arizona, so I was still on the team, but then I was like, okay, I need to get serious about this transition. So he said I was about to invest in some long term, and then he said, hey, I have an Airbnb, you can look at this stuff, and he was very open. We sat down every day that year.
Oh, wow.
He walked me through everything with how his properties are doing, what he does, how he does it. And then that's how I bought my first property, right around him. And then from buying that property and running it on Airbnb, there was a bunch of other players that needed management. That's how I started the management company. Sure. And then a good friend of mine who, one of the other houses I purchased and lived in for the time, he was a GC in the area, and built a really cool relationship with him. He does big developments in PV, like 9 million, major projects. And that's how I got into the development side of things. And that was my first ever. But in this
like
one,
jumping in.
Oh my gosh, there's some crazy stories, because I had bought a house in Arcadia for like $600,000. I did all the numbers, and I'm thinking I know what I'm doing. We demoed the whole thing, and then COVID happens, so I don't get no permit. It turned out good after 2 years. I had to hold on, but yeah, a big carry, not nearly the profit that was supposed to be made, but it was a great luck.
As long as you didn't go backwards.
Exactly. So it was a lot of good luck.
Brett, with all due respect, let me go back.
Yeah.
You obviously, you tell you're humble, you're grounded. Mm-hmm. Sounds like you protected your money.
Oh yeah.
Are the stereotypes as bad as they are with some of the NFL players of they just piss their money away?
Yeah. And now it's a lot better job, because NFL is doing a lot better of a job actually teaching these kids who are coming in, because you got to think, we're 20, 21, we've never seen money, never seen this amount of money either. Right. I mean, and our families are coming from, so it's a lot of, we don't even know how to say no to some family members, and
that's a tough part.
It really is. And I mean, I've had to go through it. I've seen countless teammates have to go through it, to where they're just dishing. I mean, it's crazy.
Is it more, again, if you can is it more people asking for freebies, or is it investments?
Both.
Okay.
Both. But you got a lot of people coming to you like, hey, I got this great idea.
Oh.
We're going to freaking make $10 million. You can retire from football, and this is how easy it's going to be. And then you also have the family and friends who are like, hey, I need $100, or some people are, I need, and so it's like and they see your contract online, so it's not like you can't say I ain't got the money, but it's like, and you have that, and that is what really starts tearing the relationships apart too. And it's new for all of us athletes. I mean, I had to tear a lot of relationships apart, because one thing I've always been good at is saying no, like I ain't giving you nothing, but
well, then you're better than most.
And but I've seen people go downhill when it comes to that, and spending and ending up, I mean, there was a huge statistic. 30 for 30 ESPN did a good show called 30 for 30 broke, and I mean, it's like 90% of players at that time were going bankrupt in 3 or 5 years when they were done.
That's sad.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't gonna be that person, so that's why I just hoarded it until I figured out, like, what did I want to start doing next.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, We aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from. And we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
We dabbled a little bit in your business. I know you want to talk more about it. I'm kind of just going to give you freedom now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your sister, your philanthropic goals, and then intermix going back and forth between that, your business, what you're doing for business now, kind of what Brett Hundley's all about going forward.
Yeah.
And I'll just keep dabbing you with questions.
No, absolutely, man. It's, again, like I said, it's been for me, the transition has been smoother, I would say, than I thought. And it's probably because when I got first released by Arizona, I then started pivoting towards figuring out what's next. Mm-hmm. And I look back and I laugh because I remember how all these companies started where when I was playing in Indianapolis, for example, Streams is a management and development company out here. And I sort of explained how I even got going in that space, never even had any bringing, but then things just kept building. I remember when I was playing for Indianapolis, I had a team who was handling everything out here while I was still playing. So I would wake up every morning, send out, it started on notes. I would send out making sure everybody, making sure we're doing everything we need to. And then obviously things kept growing.
Do you have partners in that business?
So I started everything personally. I own everything.
You own Streams?
Yeah, I own Streams. And then from there, again, it's sort of this player needed management, this player needed management. And then, some other people we knew needed management. And it just kept growing.
In a good way.
In a good way, yeah. And we learned and we kept getting better and we kept, making sure our processes were correct. And it worked too. That was the first time that I was saying, okay, we had to build it out this way where there was a grounds team handling all the day-to-day operations. And then I was on the back end. So after practice, I would go in and I would be all the back end, communications, payroll, all that stuff. So that's how everything started working and building. And, before practice, after practice, I was working. That's how I got into the real estate game. And now, I own a couple properties. I own we manage, we built the new development, but now we do more flips.
Okay.
So in the area, so that's more so where I'm specializing in Streams. And then, Ron, from Wisconsin, a good friend of mine.
Be careful of those guys.
Yeah.
Us Wisconsinites, we're a little shady.
I'm telling you, man, and that's how I got into my second company, and I'll get into the foundation after that because that's a whole different project path.
Yeah, take as much time as you need.
But that's how I got into the second company. Is Good. He was a professional fisherman in Wisconsin, and we worked together when I was doing with the foundation stuff. So we would go out there and take guys who won a raffle fishing, and I've developed a really cool relationship with him. His name is Ron, and still a professional fisher. He's one of the greatest out here in the country. But I had, at the time when we were managing all these properties, we also were looking for cleaners and trying to figure out how we're going to clean all these properties. Well, he put me in touch with another guy from Wisconsin who Corey. And Corey Snyder, man. Yeah, hey, Corey, shout out, man. And I had developed a really cool relationship with Corey, and Corey handled all the power washing, the outsides, and I knew I could handle all the inside cleanings. And that's how we sort of partnered up on doing things, and then it sort of kept growing. And that's how even, me and you connected. Yep. And then now, we're doing really all post-construction and commercials. And now, we're cleaning for free while doing all the production cleans for Shea over at Incanterra.
Nice.
And then Waltz and Remsen Group. So we're now starting to get a whole bunch of traction on things. So that's sort of how everything else built. So now I have the management and development company, and then a commercial cleaning company.
And what, if we can take just a little tangent, what do you want to do with both of those?
Yeah. I've found a passion for myself it's not like I'm over here because I don't pull salary from any of this stuff. Like I made enough, I've done, but I have a passion in growing.
But you're investing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's stupid if you don't want to return.
Exactly. I'm going to get my return. Yeah. But
you're going to start taking distributions I get it. Okay.
Yeah. And so right now, honestly, everything's just about growth. I'm really excited to be able to wake up every day and see the team. Like, again, when I was saying from how it started with one person to two people to now we got full teams where we're having, you know, our meetings every Monday, and, you know, we got the full team, and like stuff like that. I've enjoyed watching grow. And so now being a retired NFL athlete, it's sort of been my newfound passion is just seeing learning one, because everything is new. I've, you know, didn't grow up in the real estate world, didn't grow up in commercial cleaning. But to be able to now take my passion and how I've worked in football and move it into the business world of things, transition wasn't the easiest, but at the same time, I'll put my work ethic compared to anybody. So, you know, if something needs to be learned, if something needs to be done, I'm going to figure it out.
I think a lot of people would want to know, Brett, you're a very approachable guy.
Yeah.
Have other teammates ever asked to invest with you?
Man, a bunch now.
Really?
Yeah.
That almost is like, that has to be kind of rewarding.
Yeah. And so
it makes you feel good about yourself.
It really does. Because I remember when I was in that position, and Prince, you know, was a big help for me, because a lot of us, we trying to figure out what to do, who we can trust, I think is the biggest thing. Yeah. And that's, again, why a lot of athletes and players were like, hey, can you manage? Because it's all about trust, you know, especially in our position. When you say NFL player, everybody thinks you got $1 million, going to try to upcharge you everything. Yeah. So it was like, look, I'm not in this for the money. I just want to make sure I take care of all you guys. And then it started growing from there. But yeah, I think just taking that passion from the NFL into now the real world of life, I think has been very fascinating for me in this transition, and to see things grow from where they started to, you know, a year ago from when we first met to now what we're doing in the commercial cleaning aspect, like stuff like that is fun to see the progress of things, of how things develop.
What, since I know Corey, I'm going to use his name. What are you and Corey do you guys have any plans about what you want to do for expansion or growth of that vertical? Yeah. So we're 50-50 partners in it too. And honestly, right now, our goal is just to keep, like, we're still bootstrapping things, but just to keep grow. I mean, keep connecting with new builders. You know, hey, if you got any jobs, you know, throw stuff our way. But had to throw that in there. Oh yeah. But yeah, honestly, it's just been about growth right now. It's about meeting the connections, getting the people, getting the bids, and getting all that stuff situated so we can actually show what we can do. Good. So that's really been our main goal, and for us to be able to have the connections and be cleaning for some of these big time builders already, it's just been. I mean, it's been beautiful to see. Good. Beautiful. Right. Go to the foundation.
Oh, yeah, foundation time, man. So this one is my sort of passion project. This started, for everybody who doesn't know, my sister was diagnosed with epilepsy when we were kids, about 11 years old. And she was a huge track runner, great athlete, had to stop all that, started taking a shit ton of medicine, so in the hospitals all the time. And just to see her go through that, you know, we didn't really say much to anybody, and the foundation sort of got started randomly in that fashion too, because we didn't open up to anybody about it until I was at UCLA, and I had randomly said something to a reporter. I was like, man, you know, he was asking why I play, and I was like, well, my sister is a huge thing, and, you know, she had to stop sports, and, you know, that's a huge reason why I play football. And, you know, I told her she has epilepsy and stuff, and then we got a hold of the Epilepsy Foundation of Los Angeles. And they do, which was cool, I was playing at UCLA at the time as a quarterback, and they do a huge epilepsy walk every year. Oh. And so it worked perfect. So then we started getting connected with them, and then we started doing a lot of work with the National Epilepsy Board. And then from there, it sort of just took off. I was talking to my sister one day, and I was like, you know, I would love to sort of create, even though we're doing a lot of this work, I would love to create our own and see sort of where that goes and where it takes us, and, you know, maybe our own ideas and thoughts of how we want to make impact in our communities. And, from there, you know, we started the Hundley Foundation, 5-6 years ago, and it just took off, man. Rick Harrison of the Pawn Stars, huge supporter of the foundation, is really connected heavily with us. I met him at the Epilepsy Foundation. As soon as I started new, he came over and joined the foundation, and then sort of my co-chair came. He was from the board of the Epilepsy Foundation, Sam Estes, and we just had a whole bunch of people just influx over, and then now we have directors in California, Nevada. We just hired one in Michigan, and out here in Arizona. So it's been, again, it's sort of like things starting small and just growing, and that's what I've just fell into doing all of this.
So, in honor of your sister, beyond awareness, what are you guys trying to do with the foundation?
Yeah, so our mission is to impact children and families in need.
Okay.
And I say that because, again, I prefaced it with saying epilepsy was the reason we started, and it still is our base of things, but we wanted to actually keep our mission statement broad so we could impact more people than just relating to epilepsy. So we do a multitude of things, and then, it might be fun events, which I'm huge on, which is the poker run like Rick Harrison has, and this will be the 10th year in Vegas. And actually, we started doing them in Arizona as well, and it's where a bunch of bikers would get together and we'll start at the Harley Davidson and go bar to bar and ride around town, and it raises money for the foundation and initiatives in each state. And so stuff like that. But not only that, I mean, we outside of epilepsy, we have a first-time fathers program with Eisner Health. We've been running for about 3 years now. And we have about 2 to 4 cohorts a year where it might be 10 to 15 men, first-time fathers, completely free to them. Takes them through a 12-week course of, everything, and, everything of having a healthy relationship with your kids, your significant other, again, everything that comes with being a first-time father. So just stuff like that. And then even, during COVID, being able to give, we partnered up with Whole Foods and gave meals to children's hospitals,
nice.
To all the workers, all the staffs. So stuff like that. It's allowed us to really be open and expanded in what the impact we're trying to make, depending on where the need is. But our base still being epilepsy. So we still have our walks, our events,
So, Brett, if I can summarize, just so the audience understands, the foundation, is it mostly, okay, so let's say the monies that you raise.
Yeah.
Are you mostly transferring those to another organization or directly to a family that applies through the foundation through your initiatives?
Yeah, so
it's more to the families.
Yeah, so all the money is going straight to the community. So whether it be our events we'll host, the walks and stuff like that, everything goes back into the community. Nobody takes, even on the foundation, nobody takes any money, especially on the board, salary.
I wasn't insinuating that. I was just trying to get the people to understand what's your foundation really. It's great what you said that it stands for, but people always want to go, well, are they just transferring the money over here? Does it get to the boots on the ground?
Yeah.
That's what everyone always wants to know.
100%. Yeah. With us, we take everything, we pour back in the community.
Great.
So it's been an awesome sort of, even that, man, just to see that expand to what it is and the amount of people we're able to impact has been truly, truly beautiful. Truly beautiful.
Okay, let's talk about your other fun stuff.
Yeah.
Travel, photography, all that stuff.
Yep.
If you're willing to share,
absolutely,
let the audience know how cool you are outside of work.
Man, absolutely.
I mean, you're just kind of a nobody, but you're still cool.
Yeah. Oh man, absolutely. I've always one of my passions has always been traveling. I get it from my mom. She's a airline flight attendant, and so I've always had a travel bug.
She
and
still talk to you?
Yeah. Man, she be wanting to jump on the trips.
Yeah, she's lying.
Oh man, she be wanting to jump on the trips. But she's that's really where I get the passion from, and it sort of goes back to how everything started when I was in Indianapolis, and I had the grounds crew out here and I was handling all the back end. Was sort of transitioned into now, because when the companies were growing, I was still playing and still handling everything on the back end. And it allowed me to understand that I can work remote from the positions I have. We've hired out correctly to make sure everybody on the ground we're satisfied. And then me and my wife, we decided for 2 years before I retired that we were just going to start saving money and as much as we can. And then from there, we wanted to explore the world a little bit. And, it sort of works perfect because Monday through Friday, we're stationary. I'm working, I can do this. But then if I can be stationary in Europe and then Saturday, Sunday, we have time to be able to go explore and stuff like that. That's what's been really, really cool. So we do a lot of traveling now. And we sort of set it up to where we know during the week, I'll be stationary. She's a realtor as well. So she'll handle all her work. Yeah, she'll handle all her work. I'll handle all mine during the week, and then we get to sort of explore whatever country we're in. And it's been amazing, man. We actually just left in May to Barcelona for 2 months, and we're there. And then we went to Bali for another month. Oh, wow. And then we just got back, and we'll be here for a couple weeks. Got a couple projects and just making sure everything else on the grounds crew is good. And then we'll sort of head back out and just be out for a little bit and then sort of keep making trips back and forth.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's been fun, man.
So is the intent that you'll only to give food for thought for other people that are aspiring to do this, are you keeping Arizona as like just a base?
Yeah.
And then you can, now do you guys think you'll ever stay longer in certain areas?
We've thought about it. We haven't, like Barcelona now, that's one place I could live for a year if we need to, but it's beautiful. But we haven't, Arizona has been just sort of our base on where we're calling, then we'll just go out for a couple weeks and we'll come back. But yeah, for the most part, we have thought about like, hey, if we want to live here, like everything's sort of been working great. We haven't found no issues, no hiccups yet. But honestly, traveling, like I said, has always been a huge thing for us. And with technology nowadays, I mean, yeah, you could be anywhere at any time, at any place. With, all the technology, Zooms, all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, you can talk to anybody anywhere. So that's what's been cool about like traveling and then still growing.
Now you're kind of a foodie too, aren't you?
Oh, huge, man.
And photography, right?
And those are the two things that I haven't.
So again, just let the audience know, like,
yeah,
what does that mean? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah.
What's a day in Brett's head for foodie and photography?
Man, I used to, when I was playing, because those are the two things. Now, foodie wise, like I'm always eating and trying new stuff. So that's no matter where we're at, like I'm always going to try the local dishes, the cuisine and stuff like that. And I'm all about it always. That's how I feel like you get to know a culture. But I used to have, man, my own cooking show, the Men Who Cook. And we used to.
You had a show?
Yeah. I mean, it was like a YouTube and we just created a lot of content for it. But that was my passion, man, that and photography. And when I did travel, now when I was first in the NFL, every off season, I would just travel, no check bags. I would just get my camera gear in one bag and then a carry-on suitcase with a little bit of clothes in the other. And I would just go hostel to hostel, stay at different countries, meet different people, shoot for different tourism boards of the country and activities. And I did that for the first couple of years in the league, man.
That would have been a riot.
Oh my gosh! But it's funny too because nobody knows you abroad. I mean, soccer is a global thing. Football is very Americanized, and so when you're in these different countries, like I mean, they just see a big black dude walking around, So
yeah, but anymore it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, back, I'm a lot older than you. Back when we were backpacking across Europe, it'd be you saw a big black guy, you'd be like, what? Where the hell's he from? Now it's. I mean, there was all Australians, and, whatever when I was there, but
Australia's huge.
Yeah, no, that's it. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, man. So I've just been. It's cool to see. Now I don't have nearly the time to do the food and the photography. So a lot of times my iPhone is really all I got. But back in those years, I was traveling nonstop.
So, okay, you've been successful. Both football, now you have some businesses. Yeah. You and your wife are traveling. What's next? Man. Like, what are their passions? Are there dreams? Like, what do you guys talk about? Or what are you willing to share with us?
The interesting thing is I had to figure this out because, especially for athletes, like our peak is making it to the NFL and then, staying there and making a career out of it. And I did that. I played 8 years. I saved up enough money to, do the things I wanted to do to enjoy, and I'm a pretty frugal guy anyway. So
and you made smart investments.
Yeah. And so I've done all the right things that have led me up to this point. And now I've really just found my passion in the growth of things. So like it's that's why I said I always revert back to where things started for each company or the foundation. And now I'm all about growing the impact that we can make in the foundation. So that means, even if, there's other things we can do, like just continuing to build on that aspect. And then even for the companies, like I've always found that I got to wake up and do something. I
don't seem like the type of guy that sits around.
That's what I'm saying. Like you couldn't catch me on the couch all day. Like I've kept the routine that I've done my whole life. I'm up, I go jogging 2 miles, I work out, and then I'm working. So no matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, but I've just found a true passion with the real estate side and the companies of things, that I've started.
Now, you briefly mentioned it. Hopefully I'm not crossing the line here. You have a close family, right?
A close family?
Family.
Yeah.
So now, when you look at your journey, how, you've been removed from the NFL long enough now, is your family really involved with a lot of the things you're doing too?
No, honestly,
it's just you and your wife.
Yeah, just me and my wife, okay. And so I've sort of just grown, and like I said, it's all grown out of that. You know, they've been there, they've supported through everything, but yeah, most of the company stuff is all sort of solo. Now, one thing that
with the foundation, I was thinking of the foundation. That's definitely still got your family involved, right?
Yeah. So my sister's a huge part. We're both on the board, but it's really just me and my sister for the foundation. So my parents do give help, support, anything we need. But this was something too that they were like, "This is you guys' passion. This is you guys' project," and then go turn it into something. Yeah. So they've always been a huge support, but foundation wise, it's really just me and Paris sort of running the charge of things, and then growing with everybody else.
I don't want to steal the thunder, but I do want to acknowledge, since Urban's a friend of mine too. Yeah. Is there anything you want to share about your podcast with Urban? Because we kind of transcend all sorts of barriers with our podcasting, but I think you kind of went down into like not to bash big pharma here, but like with your sister's experience, is there anything that you want to just do a shout out? Take 5 minutes or so.
More so with when you say big pharma.
Well, I'll just throw it out there. Yeah. I think what I'm kind of getting at is I haven't talked to you or Urban about the content that you guys went over.
Yeah.
But was your sister over medicated because big pharma just pushed drugs down her throat? That's what I'm getting at.
100%. Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny. I was just talking to Paris because we were filling out some things, and I mean, even to this day, she's taking like 22 pills a day. So, I mean, should she be in recovery? Yeah, exactly. Like that alone is just ridiculous.
How can you put 22 products in your body and not be jacked up?
A day, and that's that me and Urban were touching on it. Just as far as all the things we spent more of our time on the foundation and even the epilepsy and the drugs that come with it and big pharma. Right. But it is sort of sad when she told me 22 because I knew it was a lot. I didn't know it was that many. But 22 pills that she has to take every day.
You probably saw it a lot in the NFL too. I'm sure guys were taking pills like crazy.
Oh my gosh, Percocets, all that stuff is I mean, on flights back, they were like candy for everybody. Yeah, it's like candy for everybody. But I've always tried to not, unless I freaking rolled an ankle and needed it. But for the most part, man, like what I've seen, especially in that realm of things, I've always personally tried to stay away. It's just sad because it breaks people down, man. When it comes to football, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier, even players, outside of the league when they're retiring, a lot of that stuff doesn't just end because you retire. Like it keeps going, and they build a need for these items, which again don't end in the best way.
So here's another question then, Brett. When talk about like, how do you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, you were exposed for all those years of trainers and this and this and this. But then once you leave that, what do you do for your own self-discipline for diet, exercise? Like, how do you stay healthy?
A great question. Thankfully, my wife, outside of being a realtor, is a coach, a strength coach, a weight. So she keeps me in shape. Yeah, she keeps me in shape, man. She's trained in the dietitian world and all that stuff. So honestly, it sort of worked out perfect for me. Because I could
hurry up.
I'm telling you, man, I got lucky on this one. But I got lucky on this one. So honestly, now we'll sort of try to go work out together. She'll help me out on my diet if I feel like things are off. But for the most part, I've always had a very consistent routine, and that's from childhood where my dad and I would run in the mornings. He's always running, and so no matter what, when I was in college, when I was in the league, and when I transitioned out, that routine has never changed. It's just the change has been like, okay, what exactly am I working on? Instead of maybe spending all day working and studying football plays, now I'm, looking at project jobs and bids and freaking, other managing things from the company. So it's like the routine stays the same, but it's just what I'm doing within that changes.
What lessons do you want to share?
Oh, man, great question.
Because I've known you enough now. I know we vicariously through Corey and Urban and some other people, but we're connected. Say. And I see your passion in everything you do.
Yeah.
But you're at a whole nother part of your journey in life.
Yeah.
And I know you're the kind of person that wants to share your passions, your lessons, and pass it on.
Yeah.
But you've got a nice little audience here and a nice platform.
Yeah.
So I ask you, Brett, what advice can you give?
Yeah. I think the biggest one that I've realized now, sort of being 2 years out, and it's still not far, but it's just the best way to put it, I would say, is just get started. Because I look at it, I mean, and that's
that's profound.
I mean, jump. Just jump. Because I sit there and I look back, and football was my life. Growing up, I didn't have anything else. That was my way out too, from how I was raised, how I grew up. Like, football was my way out, and I made it. So I'm thankful and appreciative of what football has taught me and what it's brought. But that next step in life was something I never went to, not necessarily went to school for. I never even thought about doing half of this stuff, and I found a passion for it, which I'm thankful for. And again, I remember starting all of this stuff. And for most athletes and for most of us, we get out and then we're sort of sitting there twiddling our thumbs because football dictated our whole schedule, our whole life. So we knew this day, what time we're doing and when we're doing it. And this off season, we get this amount of break. And then we're like, there was a constant scheduling for our whole life. And then once you retire, it's not like there's somebody telling you, hey, you'd be perfect for this. Like, it's like
no one cares anymore.
No one gives a damn.
Yeah.
And so to be able to find that next thing, and a lot of it is you're scared. Yeah, it's interpersonal. You're scared because, buying my first property, starting a commercial cleaning company, just starting a management company when, players needed it. I didn't necessarily. I ain't gonna lie. I was scared because when I put my name on something and I say I'm gonna do it, I'm giving everything I got to it.
Yeah.
But I remember like the times when I was thinking about it, and then when I got started, and again, I'm trying to finish off my NFL career. I'm trying to start this thing, so hopefully when I'm done with the league, I don't end up like one of these players who are bankrupt after 3 to 5 years. But I just knew. The only thing I could stand on was like, okay, if I just know I can work. If I can put my work into it and I just get started, hopefully it'll pay off. And now I am so thankful that back then, even when I was playing, I started.
You jumped.
I jumped. And I didn't know what I didn't even know what the heck. I didn't know how to create an LLC, like, it was so much stuff. I had no idea what the heck.
All of us as entrepreneurs, we don't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think being an entrepreneur is literally just like
you look back and go, boy, I remember doing that.
Yeah.
And now you look at it going, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Yes.
At the time, it was death-defying.
Yes.
Scared shitless. You thought you were going to lose everything.
Yes. And now just to see from how things started years back to where I'm at now, where I'm waking up and we're having a full staff meeting with, final touch, and there's a gang of people in there where we're talking about the projects that are up and coming, the cleanings we got this week, the things we need to do, and then even, having a meeting with the management team where we're talking. Back then, even though I knew I would get here somehow, some way, like I would have never thought. And in those scary moments of me thinking I wanted to get started, I'm just thankful I did.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that also the sweat equity and just waking up each day and saying, okay, I might not know this, but I know if I need to outwork you, I believe in myself enough to know that if I got to stay up till midnight and do this work, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna learn whatever I have to. And one of the profound things that somebody said to me in my retirement, random enough, I was getting a drink, and there was a retired Army captain, forgot his name, but we just started talking, and he had looked at me, and I sort of told him, I was like, hey, I'm retiring from the NFL, trying to figure out life. And he had looked at me, he said, you'll realize that you can outwork, like, you'll beat 99% of people just by showing up every day. Yeah, literally. And I was like, all right, cool, let's get started. From that point, it just took off, and now I'm thankful because I can look back and say, okay, now I can actually sort of breathe in this transition. But that is probably the biggest thing I would say to people. Even NFL players are scared to transition. Yeah. And
a lot of people are scared.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, you made me think of something else too, and that is the socialization.
Yeah.
So hear me out.
Yeah.
I would think that in your shoes, when you were active NFL,
yeah,
it's hard to make friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the media,
yeah,
they ostracize you for good and bad.
Yeah.
Right. And the less you just want to go for dinner. And I know you used to have to be put on the public appearance and everyone wants your autograph and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is it easier now socializing that you're out of the NFL?
Yeah.
And how's that actually opened up more for you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I would say when you're in the NFL, everybody tells you to use full advantage of the shield because it will open up doors that you probably can't get in when you're retired.
The shield.
NFL shield. So that's how they quote it. But everybody says use it while you can, because when you're out, nobody cares about you.
You're
a has-been. Don't nobody care. And again, I'm thankful that I was able to use the shield enough to get me into these places. But I will say, from using that shield, even after, it has still been it's open doors that I would have never thought I would get in. And then at the same time, it's just awesome being able to see that transition in from, stopping with the NFL into where I'm at now. But yeah, the shield, honestly, that's probably been the best thing for me. Yeah.
Well, my friend, unless you want to add something, I just want to thank you for coming on.
Man.
Thank you for being humble.
Yeah.
And I know this will air after so by the time you watch this, audience, know that before coming on there, I talked Brett into going back, signing a $55 million deal. So any of you NFL things up there, when Jordan Love, as a Packer guy, I don't want him to go down. But when he goes down, they might call Brett to come back in and relieve him.
Man, I'm gonna pull a hamstring, man. Now, if they tell me $55 million, I'm there. But if
you'll have bionic surgery.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I'd do it for $55 million. I mean, the money they're throwing around nowadays is ridiculous. I'm happy for Jordan, though. I'm happy for him.
He sat in the shadows like you did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
See, your timing was off, Brett.
Exactly. That's why I said, but I missed my timing, but I'm not missing it now.
Aaron, you should have gone to the Jets earlier.
Yeah, I know. I wish, man. If I just needed a piece of that $55 million.
Hey, thanks again, Brett. And for those of you, his company is Streams on the property management side. Yeah. He's also got the commercial cleaning. And don't forget about his foundation here locally if you want to support him, get involved.
Hundley Foundation.
Brett's a great guy, humble individual, and just honored to be part of our community. So Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, brother.
You've been listening to the Mac and Blue Show, brought to you by Blue Wave General Contracting. Be sure to subscribe to the Mac and Blue podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Follow JJ Levinsky on LinkedIn and Instagram. Tune in every Monday